Dance Factory Radio. This is 92.7 FM, Chicago's biggest party station. Louis 2 Live with a special guest on the phone with us once again, the one and only Shane 54. What's up, man?
Yay!
Hey! How's everything going, man? Shane 54, dude.
Well, I think it's been a year and a half, and I just had a new single released with Cubicore, two incredibly talented Russian and a Ukrainian guy. Plus, we recruited Eric Lumiere, who's one of the finest male vocalists in trance, to do the top line. So Out of Time is doing its rounds right now.
Absolutely, man. I got to tell you, I really love the song. The vocals, the arrangement, it just has that energetic feeling. It's very refreshing to hear.
That track has been in the works for a very long time. It took more than a year to really, come up with the goods. And there's been 3 different vocals on it. And it was a very hard task, but we knew that it's something special. So we had to explore every avenue and every little corner to see if there's anything left to discover there. And when we were finished with the track, it was like, okay, it sounds great now.
Now, can you explain the relationship between Cubicore, Eric Lumiere, and how'd you guys start collaborating?
I met the Cubicore guys when a few years ago, they approached me when they wanted to do a remix of one of my singles. I gave them the acapella, they did a really good remix. It became Push the Button on ABGT of Above and Beyond's radio show. So we started to talk, we became friends, and then we always talked with each other, and we sent ideas back and forth. And I had the track where I was like, I have this vocal and I don't know what to do with it, and I don't think it's a dance tune. And they were like, oh, we love it, let's make it into a collab. And then they turned it into something, and then we ditched the vocal, and then we had another vocal, and it wasn't good, and then the whole song just got evolved. And by the time it get to the hands of Eric Lumiere, the track was already sounding pretty much like as is now.
Okay.
But it was a very long process till we got there. And when Eric got the file for vocal, he literally did it in 2 days. And as soon as we heard it, it was like, oh yes, this is the final puzzle piece. So basically, this whole thing came together very naturally and organically. And Eric he has this incredible quality in his voice, which is very rare because trance artists usually don't sing that high and they don't sing this full of emotion. But I think this was the perfect track to have that much emotion in a vocal.
Tell me when I'm closer, cause my heart is getting colder and I need your light. I've been trying to find you, put my demons far behind me, but I'm losing sight. Oh, it feels like I'm running out of time. Yeah, it feels like I'm running out of time. But I can feel it in my soul. It feels like home, and I'm holding on so tight. Oh, it feels like I'm running, whoa, like I'm running out of time.
Out of Time is the name of the single, and you just hit the nail on the head. Emotion. It brings out the emotion, in you. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what we do. We all 4 of us, we're huge on emotions and the emotional content in music. So I would say corny, but if it's done right, it's never corny.
Right.
It's just it's always very romantic if it happens to you, but if it happens to other people, it's corny. But this is actually happening to you, so I can safely say it's very emotional.
You've also been busy with other releases on different labels and so forth. Can you talk about the more underground sounds?
I had a single on 03, which is one of my favorite progressive labels, earlier this year in February, Dark and Long, which is a cover of an old Underworld track, which I heard in Trainspotting, the British film in the 90s. And I decided I wanted to cover it. And when I did the cover, I showed it to the head of the label, and he got really excited. Oh, let's do this. So I released it over there. It became quite big, actually. And I was so surprised that people remembered the original. And then I had this other release, which was even darker, even more progressive. We can even say like techno-ish. The Pancake and Pancakes and Bacon and Pancakes EP, where I had these two tracks, Eat More Bacon and Pancakes for Breakfast. Then I had one single on Armind, which is Armin van Buuren's own personal label, and that track ended up on Armin's compilation album, A State of Trance EB's out 2018, which was a nice touch. And then Out of Time, and now I'm heading to a few collaborations with Anjuna Beats artists, and my next single just got finished, and it's doing the rounds at the labels right now.
Perfect. That's fantastic, man. Now, you also, aside from you being in the studio, well, I guess this, you being in the studio relates to this as well, because you probably recorded in the studio, is your weekly podcast, International Departures. You said you're on what episode now? 400?
446 was broadcasted yesterday.
Wow, that's awesome. And so you can find that on iTunes, YouTube, and all that, right?
Yeah, on YouTube it's special because this, as far as I know, this is the only radio show on the planet which has a video version every single week, which makes it very easy to use when pre-gaming or going home with your friends after a partying or, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You just put it on and it has these incredible visuals which really out there. And sometimes I'm really pushing the envelope of what works and what not with the music.
Sure.
But most of the time it's there to support the music. So it's always a little bit of, like you were at a concert or you were at a big show, and when the visuals work really well with the music, that's what it's like. And I do the edits as well. So it takes considerable amount of more time, but it's very rewarding, and it seems that people enjoy it more than I thought they were going to enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's great news, man. We'll have to check that out at youtube.com, Shane54music. Music, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Awesome.
And I mean, you do a lot of traveling. You recently went to Hong Kong. Stories?
GT 300.
How can we forget? And how was that trip for you?
It was fun because there was this boat party on a Friday, a day before the event, and it was strictly for the label people and for very close friends, and I ended up on the boat. And we just had fun, and there was, sunset, and it was on a junk boat in the Hong Kong Bay. It was very Bruce Lee.
Sure.
But what I didn't know that there were people with cameras around and everything, and we were just drinking and everybody just had fun. And then it turned out that it was actually they were recording next day's deep set on the boat.
Oh wow!
So when next day the party started and then the stream started, and I got a big bunch of text messages from all over the world. Like, what the hell are you doing on the ABGT boat? And I'm like, it was yesterday. Sorry. It was fun, and the party was great. I mean, an event with the scale like this, it's always good fun. And the big party was in a huge event center, which can hold, 30,000 people, 40. And next to the ABGT party, that was Jehovah's Witnesses World Congregation or something, right. With another 10,000 religious people who just didn't hear the bass drum. There was no bass drum for them. Jehovah didn't approve the bass drum.
Didn't approve the bass drum. Oh well, all right. Well, hey, that's good to hear. Thanks for sharing that story with us. And any plans to come back to Chicago anytime soon?
I love Chicago so much. Of course, I do have plans, but as soon as I will have anything solid, I will let you know immediately.
Absolutely.
You'll be the first person to call.
Keep us posted.
It's one of my best friends who used to live in Chicago. He's not living there anymore. I have to call you first.
All right, I'll be the point of contact in Chicago. Perfect.
Absolutely. EOC.
Shane54's latest single, Out of Time. And one last thing I just want to touch on. There's a topic that's very close to your heart here. October is Bullying Prevention Month.
Well, I was a weird kid. I was 5 years old when I decided that I want to make music. And when you're 5 years old and you start to prepare for this, which is really something very stupid, but that's what I did. I literally, all my childhood and my teenage years have spent me trying to figure out what kind of music I want to make. Mm-hmm. But that means that you're going to be different and you're going to be weird. So I got a lot of bullying, and it wasn't easy to do that. And of course, as soon as my first album came out when I was still in high school, everything changed. But up to that point, it was a very bitter affair.
Sure.
And and I think anybody who's ever been bullied, even if it's might not be the biggest thing in the world, or it's not that big, but still, even the smallest bullying will hurt you forever, and it's gonna stay with you. And now that I have kids, it's so much more important for me to stand up for this, and because the thing is that bullies don't really realize how much damage they cause. It's very important for them to know how much damage they can cause, and it's very important for them to know what kind of impact people's lives can be influenced by anything like that. And if it lasts for a long time for whatever reason, then that can literally ruin someone's life.
So the goal of the month is to raise awareness to the impact of bullying and cyberbullying, and let's everybody get along.
I'm totally all for this.
Yes.
You can always count on me.
Excellent. Shane 54, Out of Time is the new single. Cubicore, Eric Lumiere, out now. The podcast, International Departures, and International Departures TV on YouTube.com. Shane 54 Music. Check it out. Shane 54, thanks for calling us up today at Dance Factory Radio. We're looking forward to your next visit to Chicago.
Awesome.